Does this make you feel alone? HollowKnight is one of my favorite games of all time, but not just because of its combat or exploration, it's because no game has ever made me feel as isolated as traveling through Hallownest did. For years I wondered why. Was it the music? Was it the empty world? The more I looked, the more I realized something surprising. That feeling of loneliness isn't just created by one thing, it's created by almost every aspect of the game's design. And I want to share my findings with you. So, let's start at the very beginning. You drop down from a high cliff and shake the earth as you land. In response, a flock of shadows fly across your screen, running from the noise. You see that you're surrounded by towering walls made out of fossilized shells. Not completely in the dark, but definitely not basking in the sun. Then, you notice it. You are the only bug here. You are alone. This opener is a subtle trick. Team Cherry could have filled this opening with NPCs greeting you or enemies that attack you right off the bat, but instead, they let the silence speak first. Before the game tells you anything about Hallownest, it makes you feel what Hallownest has become. It is reminiscent of Dark Souls 2's opening scene. As you rise to your feet, you see the small grass field in front of you and one lone beam of light to help guide you on your way, but nothing else. Both games use the lack of objects to their advantage and forces us to acknowledge the emptiness before us. Let's focus on that for a moment. Emptiness. It can be one of the strongest tools used to evoke the feeling of social disconnection and make areas that otherwise should be lively seem dreary and dead. We see a great example just a few minutes after the opening on HollowKnight when we finally get to Dirtmouth, the fading town. Looking into the town, we see a few buildings in the forefront and many more behind it, but something's wrong. The streets are completely empty aside from the street lamps and the one lone soul who greets us. It feels wrong. Team Cherry used emptiness to make us feel how they wanted us to. In this case, there's emphasis drawn on the lack of people in the town, and even though we know it's just a game, we subconsciously expect the town to have way more inhabitants, because our brains naturally associate towns with people. Say you walked into a city center and saw one person standing there, you would know that something was wrong and that there should be way more people here. We see this again later in the game when we finally reach the City of Tears. This city, being much larger than Dirtmouth, is still devoid of non-infected, other than one or two merchants hidden within the city. The City of Tears should feel alive. I mean, it's enormous, beautifully constructed, and clearly once housed thousands of bugs, but it's almost completely empty. The city becomes less of a civilization and more of a monument. Every street reminds you that people used to live here, and for the most part, you're alone. It's not just that Hallownest is empty, it's the game constantly reminding you that it wasn't always this way. Loneliness isn't just being by yourself. Most of us enjoy being alone from time to time, but what HollowKnight captures is something different. It's the feeling of walking through a place that was clearly meant to be full of life and realizing that you're the only one left. Every lifeless street, abandoned building, and forgotten home reminds you that something is missing. And it's not just what Team Cherry shows us, it's how they show it. Every artistic decision reinforces the same emotions, and the easiest decision to overlook is in the game's color palette. Hallownest is not colorless, it's restrained. Rather than using candy reds, bright greens, and neon blues, most of the kingdom is painted with muted colors, stuff like dull greens or washed out blues. While Hallownest looks beautiful, the color scheme subtly reinforces the feeling that this world is long past its prime. The game itself isn't devoid of bright colors, it reserves them. using them sparingly and always with meaning. For example, Green Path has some of the most vibrant colors in the game because is keeping it alive, refusing to bow to the Radiant's light. Or look at the infection. It is bright orange, emphasizing how unnatural and aggressive it really is. Its bright orange clashes with the rest of HollowKnight's palette, and even before we understand the infection, it feels like it doesn't belong here. Visuals are not the only tool in Team Cherry's arsenal to reinforce these feelings of emptiness in HollowKnight. They take full advantage of sound. One song that stands out is Reflection. It plays mainly in the hot springs throughout HollowKnight, and it's accompanied by gentle ambient sounds that are honestly just chef's kiss. But what makes it so effective is what it doesn't do. Reflection doesn't try to excite the player. It slows everything down. There are no loud drums or sweeping orchestras, just soft piano, gentle ambience, and silence between the notes. It almost feels like HollowKnight itself is taking a deep breath. Whenever I hear it, I get this strange feeling of melancholy that is somehow comforting. Another game that does this really well is Deltarune. In Chapter 5, the song Quickglade has that restful, somber tone that tracks in HollowKnight utilize so well. And the next time that you play a game, just stop and listen for a moment. Let that music take you deeper into the world. Music and ambience are not the only sounds that contribute to this, but sound effects as well. Before I explain, I want to show you. I'm going to play some sound effects, and I want you to really think on them. Close your eyes if you have to, but I want to see if you can draw the same conclusion that I did. Ready? Here we go. Welcome back. Whether you realized it or not, those sounds all have something in common. Nearly every sound that I played you echoes. Not because it's realistic, but because echoes remind you of empty spaces. Whether you're in a cave, an abandoned building, or an empty cathedral, echoes tell your brain that there's nobody else around. The sounds make the area we explore feel hollow, empty, lonely. None of these sounds exist in isolation. They're all reinforcing the same emotion. The visuals tell you that HollowKnight is empty. The music makes you slow down and reflect, and the echoes constantly remind you about how much space surrounds you. Individually, these choices are subtle, but together, they create that feeling of loneliness that is almost impossible to ignore. I know my explanation was brief, and this video probably skipped over a couple of realizations I had, but I really don't need to drag this video out anymore. Before making this video, I wanted to figure out why HollowKnight always stuck with me the way it did. I thought there'd be one secret ingredient, one thing that made HollowKnight feel so lonely. But the deeper I looked, the more and more I realized it was never just one thing. It was every little detail, quietly working together in the background to make it all come together. But that's it from me. Until next time, idiot out.